welcome. Why is a university from the East Coast in the West Coast, in Seattle? Tayloe Washburn is Dean and CEO of Northeastern University, Seattle. Joins us. Good to see you.
Good to see you,
Good
Steve.
to talk to you again.
Indeed.
You went from being a lawyer and an activist to being a dean of a college that is on the East Coast. Why are you here?
I'm here because as a lawyer and activist, I strongly feel that the greatest potential weakness of our region is in education, whether it's K-12, community college, or higher ed. We simply produce a lot less of the people in this state that our companies need. Northeastern presented me with an opportunity to try and fill that gap at the higher ed level, and I jumped at it.
So in particular to Northeastern, what's the gap that they are filling? What are the programs they're looking at?
What the companies in a whole bunch of sectors in this region need is, in addition to undergraduates, is folks with specialized graduate experience in STEM fields, computer science, education, et cetera. What Northeastern is bringing is, at the graduate level only, approximately 30 degrees delivered in both an online and hybrid format in those fields where the need is. So the result of that will be, as a state, we're producing more of the graduates here that our companies need, and that's a good thing.
Why didn't the schools that were here fill that gap?
Well, this state has a lot of good schools. A large number of them are public, and as we all know, in the last, well, periodically, but especially in the last 10 years, the funding simply gone down. Nonprofit colleges, such as Northeastern, who are in the business of trying to meet the same need, that's a gap that they can fill, or at least try and fill, and that's what we're doing here.
You guys are near or partnered with, connected to South Lake Union.
Correct.
What's the connection?
Northeastern is here to train working professionals and others in STEM fields. In this region, the most innovative, the location where the most innovative companies are is South Lake Union. Big data, cloud computing, you name it. It's a logical place to be. It's where our students are, and on the research end, as we start to develop more research relationships, it's where the brightest minds are.
It's where your students are? Are you drawing students from the businesses to get their advanced degrees?
Yeah, we have essentially three types of students, or three areas from which they come. One are working professionals, folks in their 20s, 30s, and 40s who want to advance, or in some cases switch their focus. And a number of those are from South Lake Union in Seattle.
What are the partnerships? What are the specific partnerships you have between Northeastern and the South Lake Union companies?
Let's think. I'd say it depends how we describe the term partnership, but I think research relationship, the first one that comes to mind is the Seattle Biomed. Seattle Biomed, as we know, is one of the world leaders in researching neglected tropical diseases and figuring out maybe how to fix it. Northeastern is actually a national leader in what's called drug discovery, which is how do you put that in medical form? So we are working with Ken Stewart, the former CEO, on I think about 2 neglected diseases to take his research product and figure out how to put it in a medical form that can be distributed. So that's a research partnership. We are working not in the immediate South Lake Union area. Well, the Gates Foundation is working with us in Shoreline College on something called adaptive learning, which is a traditional problem in any classroom is if you're really smart and the guy next to you is a little slower, how does the teacher handle that? Well, we're using technology to try and make the teacher's job easier and allow both students to learn at a better rate than earlier. Very pioneering stuff, and we're trying it out at Shoreline.
What does it look like?
Well, it looks like basically a curriculum product and broken down into learning units, and students go at different rates, and the traditional problem of the smart person sitting there twiddling their thumbs is lowered. And it's still in test pilot stage. But that's exactly the kind of stuff that our campuses exist for, is pushing the envelope. Another type of partnership we've done with a number of technology companies and gaming companies is an initiative we call Games. We're tackling the issue of why do so many girls at grade 5 love STEM and science. By the time they get to grade 9, there's a precipitous drop. So our technical computer science fields, very low percentage. We are working with gaming folks and educators across the country to develop online games which will not teach those middle school girls STEM, but will inspire them to want to get into STEM. Nobody's doing that, and so we're starting to work with a bunch of other universities and gaming experts to develop the games and then distribute them.
And do you have an idea what they look like, what those games are like?
Not yet. This is not simple. It'll take about 2 years. It has multiple steps. We have research. There is research that we're collecting on what interests girls in online games and what features do you have to have. But this will be a multiple step program.
So I have some kids, and they went through college. Mm-hmm. And they took online courses and in-class courses and hybrid courses. Mm-hmm. Oh, and they did not like the online courses that were exclusively online because they felt disassociated from their fellow students and not connected to the institution that gives part of what going to college all about.
Sure.
So how's Northeastern answering that kind of critique?
Well, not all students have the luxury of going to an on-ground university, and in fact, in today's world, very few do, especially if they're holding jobs. Secondly, there are all different types of quality online programs. I mean, there's some really not very impressive ones, and some folks who've been doing it for a while have picked up a lot of techniques to engage the learners, and actually, according to really most studies, get the content across just as well. But your point with your children is essentially what we've discovered, which is even if a good online program is helping them get the content down, most people really enjoy a person-to-person component, and that's what we call hybrid learning, and that is essentially what our campus exists to deliver, is both the online content in any of our graduate degrees, but at nights or on weekends, come to the campus for the personal interaction, which in many areas helps a lot and students clearly value.
What does the campus look like? Because when you say campus, I think of the UW or Seattle Unis.
Right.
But it's not like that.
No, it's not like that. And what I love about Northeastern is they are pushing the envelope. The traditional large on-ground campus is wonderful, but in many cases is going to become a thing of the past.
Because of cost, or because
the cost, access, lots of reasons. Online education worldwide is clearly going to be a major component in the future, without any question. Our hybrid campus, which is really the administrative offices, are only 2,000 square feet. We have 3 large classrooms, and we're in the process of getting 2 more campuses because we're growing so fast. But it's a small footprint, and frankly, that is all you need. So from a school standpoint, a whole lot less overhead, and you can put your resources into the product, not the land and the buildings.
So when you came here and filled this niche, did the UW or Shoreline, did they complain, or did they say, oh, here's another partner, we can save some money on capital infrastructure by partnering with them?
Much more the latter. I really have, neither I nor any of my team have gotten any negative feedback. I think everyone in this state recognizes that the state needs more education. So we have, I know a lot of the folks at both those institutions, and really it's much more of a how can we work together to learn from each other, and there are things to learn both ways, to collaborate like we're doing with Shoreline, and to help the state as a result. So competition is really not in my vocabulary.
Does Northeastern start to see itself as a Northwestern college?
Absolutely. A key premise of our president is that any university, whether it's Northeastern, which is in a community, one of its top priorities must be to establish a real social compact with the community. So for me, because I've been active in this community for years, that was a natural. So we spend a lot of our time outside of classes trying to identify issues of importance to the community, convening folks, inviting the University of Washington and others, and coming up with solutions so that in pretty short order, in a number of fields, we're definitely part of the community.
What does it look like 5 years from now, 10 years?
Well, that's an interesting question because it's 2 years now, and starting next spring, we will have 3 campuses, all within 2 blocks of each other in South Lake Union. So I guess my vision is we will have somewhere probably north of 500 to 1,000 students. We're not interested in becoming a mega university, but providing really good education. That we will be developing valuable research relationships with various members of our community, both nonprofit and corporations. That we will be contributing a lot of thought leadership and solutions to some of the issues we have as a community, and we'll just be another member of the community.
You know, you've been integrated into this community a long time, politically, and in terms of professional life. Why was this the next act for you?
Well, I think I had spent many decades in the field of law, enjoyed it, had a lot of good experiences, but was ready for something new. And the challenge of being the first employee of a university on a 3rd floor cubby and creating a brand new university, that just interested me. that was, I figured I'd learn a lot. I certainly have. I felt very important. I didn't do this really for any personal reason, but I do feel the region needs several more universities. I mean, Boston, for example, has 10 major universities. It's a good thing for any region. And I thought that I love education. I used to be a teacher. I have a master's in education. I thought I can do this.
You know, Boston has a comparable population, but they're surrounded by a much bigger population group. I mean, can we sustain and support more universities?
Without any question.
Really?
I mean, without any question. And the numbers tell the story. If you look at the number of whether it's undergraduates in these fields or graduates, the demand is intense. Currently, most companies have to spend a ton of money importing these folks from around the country or the world. It'll be a long time till we domestically produce anything close to what's needed. So that would be the least of my concerns.
What about instructors? You have instructors on the East Coast. Right. Instructors here too that are starting to be integrated into that campus?
Yeah, this is what's really cool about our Northeastern Seattle campus is we get the high quality programs offered at our Boston campus complemented. Let's take computer science for example. We have folks who come in and teach or co-teach from Google, from Amazon, from Twitter, from Facebook, and they talk to our students about here's what we're doing last week. And if you know anything about technology, it moves very quickly. So any school has difficulty keeping its product current with what the companies actually need. We're able to minimize that, and to me and the students, that's very exciting.
Tayloe Washburn is Dean and CEO of Northeastern University in Seattle. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.